You are listening to These Walls Can Talk, a Hope Outdoor Gallery podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of These Walls Can Talk. I am Chris Skull, along with my sister and co-host Andy Skull, and we have some other badass guests in the building today. Our first is an artist and good friend of mine that I've known for a long time. I'm so grateful to have her here on the show. This is Zuzu in the house. How are you?
Doing great. What up?
What up? We also have one of the founders of 12 Rivers Realty and a badass in Austin that does a lot for our city. Give it up for Paul Smith in the house.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. How's everybody? Yeah. We're already, yeah.
Everybody loves a New York DJ that can't mix.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. This the segues right into the one song to the next, just like,
Yeah.
Coming up next to the stage. That guy. So.
Hunka bunka.
Oh, yeah. So we were Jersey kids. So the ads on the radio and shit would be like, you know, Hunka bunka, Sayreville, New Jersey, 18 to party, 21 to drink, and, you know, just all day.
That's the worst
All
and the
day.
best.
It was so different growing up in New Hampshire where it's like,
I didn't
buy
know
your
that.
wooden furniture in the Androscoggin. And it's like, come on. Like the Androscoggin, really? Like that's what we got going here?
Dude, I missed that part in the years we've known each other. I've known about the military, but I didn't know New Hampshire.
Yeah, this started in New England.
All of this.
All of
This
this.
is New England.
See
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
this?
Yeah.
Amazing. Totally doesn't make sense at all. I love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really doesn't actually. Like
That
people-
new in New Hampshire.
Yeah. That's
Not that
like-
old Hampshire.
They were like, how did this happen? Like, my family looks at me like, what the fuck? Like, how? Obviously, I was adopted or, like, switched at birth. There's, like, a really, like, other family out there that's creative and doesn't move furniture and, like, plumbing and all that shit.
Right. They just left you on the train.
Yeah,
You're like
they-
from Philly.
Yeah.
They were like, yo, we don't know what to do with this one. Ship it to New Age.
Send them back.
In West New Hampshire, born and raised. I don't know how shit went, but yeah.
On the beach is where we spent most of our days.
Chilling out, relaxing, catching seashells, and then I don't know how to go.
Hey.
If anyone doesn't know what our show's about, it is definitely about talking about the creative side of things here in Austin, Texas, and throughout the world, but having some fun with it. And we're glad to have you both here. We want to hear some shit. We want to hear some stories about this town and, you know, some of the things you've gotten to be a part of as we go through it.
Yeah, I mean, so before we started, I was sharing, as I usually do, how excited we are to have, you know, both of our guests, and that's always such a cool, dynamic kind of mashup. I feel Chris and I always try to think of, you know, all these incredible creative friends we have in this city, and it is kind of like that, like the cuisine here too. It's always like a mashup, you know. But having Zuzu and Paul, I think the stuff that you two have done together, the stuff that you do on your own, kind of collaborating and bringing your communities together. So I want to kick it over to Zuz, because I'm now remembering from our first book, of which I feel like Zuzu, you've definitely been a part of Hope Outdoor Gallery from the very beginning. And yeah, I remember meeting you with my brother and you going out doing a first mural there, even with, dang it, it was your Fearless mural with Smart Girls at the Party.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was great.
So yeah, tell us, when did you start your painting journey?
Was
Yeah.
that a fake it till I make it thing? Or, like, how did you come up with that? Because that was absolutely amazing.
Smart Girls at the
At the
party?
party?
Wow.
No, I didn't make that up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
copy.
that's a-
Sorry.
that's a-
I wanted to go into that.
That's an
like, a
actual
little-
organization. Yeah. That's
Oh.
Amy Poehler came up with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Credit
that's
to
fair.
her.
Fair.
Yeah.
I love me some Amy Poehler.
Same.
She's polarizing.
It-
So that was for my...
Good news is he's going to be here all night. Please tip
I
your
thought we
waitress.
were going to be Parks and Rec style, like recreational
Oh,
jokes.
Lordy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Zeus, back to you.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's your brother.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Can't give it back. No receipt.
Oh, they did with me.
we know where
That's
he
why I ended
came
up in
from.
Fucking New Hampshire.
Sorry, go ahead, Zeus.
yeah.
Yeah. The Fearless piece. Yeah. You organized a project that was my first project that I painted at Hope with, I think there was like 8 artists, and I was the only girl, and I thought it was so amazing that I was the only female up in that mix. And we painted a huge wall for the Global Citizens Festival.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so fun.
Which aired in Central Park that year for the first year of Global Citizen Festival, which is our other co-partner at the park.
Yeah, super rad. And the Fearless piece, I think I just went out there and jammed during like one of our paint jams, and then Andy was like, "Hey, Amy Poehler wants to like do some cool shit with you." I was like, "Great, let's do it."
Yeah, well, they were specifically looking for female artists, and I love that really was the beginning of a lot of things like that at the park. But what I loved was also knowing Zu's story a little bit. So we both went through the creative sequence at UT. Mm-hmm. But tell us a little bit more about kind of your journey to like sitting right here.
Oh wow, okay, so much. Yeah, so I went to UT. That was great. I actually didn't love the creative sequence. It was very hard to get into, which was fun. You know, like 30 kids out of like hundreds get in. So like I was super stoked to get in. And then I realized in those classes that they were just prepping you to work at an agency. Like you were a creative director or you were a copywriter, and then you like made art to sell shit, which was cool at the beginning. And then I realized that I was just making art pieces and it wasn't really selling anything and they didn't really make sense. So I didn't particularly do that well in those classes. But I graduated and I traveled for like a season and like backpacked around Colorado and just like fucked off for a while, and then just kept making art. And slowly but surely I made it to this point, which is amazing, because I used to pretty much pay people to paint their walls back in the day. I'd be like, I'll bring the paint, you just give me the wall. And I'm like, I'm actually losing money on this deal.
Can we go back to that for the next one that we do together? Because that sounds amazing. Subsequently, I
What do
also
you mean? I don't have to pay you for this?
I actually pay people to paint walls as well, but it's you, so that works out well.
Yes, you do. And I appreciate that.
As do I.
Yeah.
I'm just happy you take my phone calls now. Thank you.
Yeah, same.
You're happy you take my phone calls too?
Yeah, I'm happy I take your phone calls. You take my phone calls.
Always.
So yeah, it's just been a really long and windy path, like everyone.
Not everyone.
Did you just straight and narrow?
Some people took their microdoses this morning like they were supposed to.
Yeah, I see that.
Sorry.
It's good. It's good.
And some of us didn't.
That's the creative. No, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. By the way, at what point did you work at Treasure Island in this mix?
Ooh, you know what?
Yep. Are you going to take my story or you want to tell it?
No, you're going to tell it because I don't remember which story you're talking about.
Wow.
But I was totally going to talk about how we knew each other for sure because that's epic.
Facts.
But I don't even know what year that was. I mean, I was probably working at Treasure Island when I was 23-ish.
Okay, and for reference, there may be some listeners that don't know if Treasure Island is
So Treasure Island. Treasure Island.
Disneyland.
Do y'all know Treasure Island?
Do y'all know
Of course.
Okay.
for a
Some
little-
might think it's Vegas. Some might think it's a
true.
lingerie
fair.
store.
Climb aboard, mateys. Welcome. I am Zuzu, and I will help you.
Could be a fantasy play zone.
Oh, well, let's hear it.
Let's expand on that.
I know. I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. We're a bunch of visual people.
Yeah.
Go for it.
The pink patch.
What would that look like?
Treasure chest? Come on.
A treasure chest.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
Have you guys ever been to the box in New York?
I
Heard
am
about
going
it?
now.
That's a
Inspired?
treasure chest.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. I don't mean that.
Definitely know about that.
I have not.
Haven't been though.
That's what I think about when I think about treasure chest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so back
Okay,
to the...
Treasure Island.
Treasure
Explain
Island.
what
Sorry, Treasure
explain what Treasure
Word
Island
association.
was.
Okay, so
for
Treasure
people
Island.
who don't know.
First and foremost, you were looking at the bar manager of Treasure Island, which is probably my biggest career compliment and achievement from 2002 to 2005. Home of the 25-cent well Dollar Triple on Sundays. By the way, that
One
math
more
does
time.
not
A
make
dollar
sense.
triple.
Dollar Triple.
A dollar triple well. Can
Plastic
you imagine?
cups only.
Oh, of course, only plastic cups. Yeah.
Plastic cups only. We only had plastic
You
cups.
knew you were in a high-end bar when only plastic. Even the tip jars had to be plastic.
That's good.
Everything.
Wow.
Because people would break them if they weren't.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you had stairs because you didn't want people falling on them. No, I've been there. It was crazy.
No,
It was amazing.
You just
Triple.
like blow up slides.
Needless
Yeah.
to say, this was like a very high-end establishment on 6th Street. And this was before 6th Street was called Dirty, right? It was just 6th Street because there was no other anything. Like the warehouse district had just started to pop off. West 6 wasn't even a thing.
Nope.
The East Side, you like, you might have parked just off the parking lot off on the other side of 35, but we're talking 2002 to 2005. It was a little bit different during that time frame.
Oh,
right?
yeah, for
It
sure.
really was
I
when,
mean,
when a dime bag cost a dime.
When you could actually like stop a crime with the dime type situation, like not anymore. Be like, who fucking has quarters? Not me. I don't have quarters.
Wow.
okay, I'm still
I didn't
still
know
at the
this.
part where you were the general manager.
Oh no, hold on. Well, I was not. I was the bar manager. Okay, I was not the GM. Nobody wanted that job.
Oh, right.
But the bar manager,
You don't
I
gotta
had-
lie because of
I had-
liability.
I had Kate Blanchett. I could do whatever I wanted.
Excuse me?
I had Kate Blanchett.
Okay. Sounds like the underworld of the
Right.
the bar industry.
But are you actually? I mean, I actually do feel that way about her. She can do anything. That
Yeah, absolutely. Kate
Okay.
Blanchett, or
Right.
what I like to say, carte blanche. But
oh, I just did a Kate Beckinsale, not a Kate Blanchett. Okay. So
Wow.
I'm gonna
Oh.
back that up. Yeah.
By the way, I also too would like to do a Kate Beckinsale.
Wow. Yeah.
Are
Bet
we
you
going
would.
to hear this story, man?
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Yeah,
sorry.
so
My ADD and my microdose at the same
I'm just
time.
going to keep bringing you back, man,
Thank you.
because I want to
Thank
hear
you.
the story too.
Okay, so
Treasure Island.
I've been tasked to. No, wait. Do we all agree that we know what Treasure Island is now?
Yes.
We all
It's
knew,
a
but-
dive bar on 6th Street in a time in which when 6th Street was cooler than it is now.
yeah.
It was the only game
wa-
in town.
Well, and at that time it was a cool bar,
No. It was a cheap bar.
but it wasn't. But all the bars are cheap bars. Like
not
Yes.
that cheap. It was, yeah, Dollar Triple Wells. I
It's
don't know
pretty
how
good.
many people
You
would
don't
Yeah,
get
I mean, dude,
cheaper.
we had like
I mean, they were
Sundays.
basically
I
just
remember going
paying
Sundays.
quarters.
yeah, it's where you would
pouring
go
liquor down the drain,
to get cheap
basically.
drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Yeah.
So there, I'm said, hey, we got to train this new bartender, and I feel like you were 19, but I don't.
I
remember.
started bartending when I was 19, but I thought I started at Vici.
This was when you were in training.
Oh, this was before Vici.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So this was, and by the way, I would like to introduce you to my friend Kelly.
That's right.
Oh, put me on blast.
So Kelly is a new bartender training at Treasure Island, and they're getting ready to open up a new bar in the Warehouse District, and so phenomenal, like just absolutely amazing person, and just crushed it. Went on in the bar scene and did great things because I feel like in the Austin area, a lot of creatives kind of got into bartending because it was just kind of quick, easy money. You only had to work a few days a week to be able to pay your bills because it wasn't that expensive to live in Austin back in the day.
No, I totally waited tables at Stubbs when I got back from Africa. I mean, you can easily kind of jump on your feet and create your own ideas here.
Absolutely. And so Kelly was just an amazing person and just kind of instantly like just hit it off at that point. And throughout, I mean, gosh, this is going to make me feel old, but it's almost 20 years. And that's crazy because we met when I was 5. Yeah, exactly. Almost.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's not. It's
Wow.
Edward James almost.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's there.
so 20 years ago, right? So think about it, 20 years ago. And so over that time, we've just, continued to be good friends. And so one, I'd like to thank you for your friendship.
Yeah.
Kelly, aka Zuzu. And so, yeah, that's the point of this is I wanted y'all to know that you guys met her when she was Zuzu, but Kelly's my homegirl.
And
Oh,
you
gee.
got some dirt.
No, not that crazy. No, not too much.
I mean,
Not anything that we're going to talk about.
sure, but was there? I mean, the Treasure Island, like that was one of a ton of bars, wasn't it? Owned by wasn't it the gigantic?
The yes
group?
scenes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, I think enough time's passed to talk about. Wasn't that like?
I ran
was all that
into Mike
about?
the other day downtown. Almost fell over. I was so shocked. I hadn't seen him in
Mike was at my birthday party.
Oh, nice.
It's
Nice.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was
the
so great
Yassines-
to host him.
I forget people don't know what we're talking about. Okay, so the Yassines owned, 3 brothers owned 8 bars around town. They were the hottest bars in town. And there were so many of us that met there who are still friends, which is crazy. Knowing people for that long is wild. I've never lived anywhere longer than Austin, so I didn't have friends for 10 years because I was moving all the time. And now I'm like, wow, I've known you for 20 years. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even feel like you I still think you're 25. So like,
That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. like,
ride
it's like I
that
can't.
way.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, how is this possible?
That's cool.
You know, I think with the Yes scenes, this is my thought on them. Right, is that you know, I think in that time in the bar industry, there was just a lot of crazy things happening, and so don't necessarily know if or where bodies are buried type of a situation. That's a metaphor, not actually. And this is what I'll say about them is that if they fucked with you, they fucked with you hard. If they didn't fuck with you, they also didn't fuck with you hard, right?
Yeah.
So for me, thankfully, they fucked with me. And so I don't have anything bad to say about them.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I feel like also being here, 28 years now, you know, it's like most cities where there's a really close community, and then people, you know, once you get in and know, and then you kind of discover all the different circles and things. But the uniqueness of the amount of creative entrepreneurial things that can happen, which still, you know, lends itself into the bar scene, you know, because having 8 bars of all different themes, whether it was this group or I remember being in the grocery store and seeing Brad on the cover of People magazine, and to me, Brad and Chad own Chug and Monkey, you know, and like Rosewood, and I'm like, what's happening? Who's that? Why is he on the cover of People?
I think that worked out really well
Wait,
for
Brad,
him.
the Bachelor dude?
Yeah, yeah.
Dogwood, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, because I just never watched those shows, but I just live, you know, it's just interesting to see a lot of things that have come out of Austin and kind of the growth. This whole, I mean, we're on 6th Street right now, like doing
We're
this
live here at
podcast.
Ibble Studios. And shout out to Ibble. They've been supporting since day one.
Yeah. But these walls can talk. When we started this, even here physically, we're in one of the oldest buildings in downtown Austin, next to the Driscoll. I mean, there's just a lot of crazy fun shit that's going on here.
Speaking of walls that can talk, I'm grateful that the walls at Treasure Island cannot talk because we'd all be fucked.
Yeah. You know what? I feel
You were there.
I kind of at least want to know, like, give me some names of like some drinks at that time. Like, what did you make that we had?
The $4 Long Island iced tea. And the good thing is I could put all 4 bottles in. So I was really fast. I could do this and then boom, boom. There you go. The Flaming Dr. Pepper.
That was my favorite.
yes.
That was my favorite.
Wait, I
Bars
remember-
that let you blow fire. Are you kidding me? I remember there
You
was a
spit
time
that hot fire.
you had to put 151 in your mouth, and then you dipped your fingers and you blew fire. I can't even believe people allowed us to do this. I can't believe we didn't catch anybody on fire.
I did.
But you caught somebody on fire.
Yes. And then there's so many like,
This customer's on fire.
dude, I have watched so many chicks' hair just go,
no
Okay,
stop.
I
I
never
swear.
lit anyone on
No,
fire.
stop.
oh
For
yeah.
sure.
I'd be like, get out the way. And then,
No.
yeah.
Just bachelorette party failure.
Was Luda on? Dun 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 dun. Never mind. Moon bitch. Never mind. Okay, tried.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, dude, like absolutely, like craziness, right? Like, I remember I was working a New Year's with Rudy. You remember Rudy? At a place called Pure, which
Oh yeah. Which was definitely not pure.
No.
you know, prior to Pure, it was a place called Platinum X, which is where I got my debut in the Austin bar scene.
Wow.
That's before my time, for sure.
Way before.
Yeah.
Was-
You were like 7. Yeah, crazy. It was so much fun. It was I was like,
topless?
no, I wish.
I
it was
know.
18 and up. You couldn't go topless then. At times it was topless.
No, I was more wondering if you were
Bartending topless.
Yeah, like so
Well,
like
Funny thing. Funny you should say that. Because 22 years ago, this didn't look like this. Okay, like it was 175. Like tanned for 24 hours.
Chisel.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, ish, chiselish.
Chiselish.
Top
yeah.
Gun-ish.
Yeah. But more like Goose. I was like the nerdy, like dad botted but young.
Oh my god, you're backpedaling? We went
Yeah.
from the I was having like all like I was like spray tanning you like
Oh yeah, no, like I was trying. I was like Goose trying to work out, but I also like to eat. So imagine like Val Kilmer, Iceman, like that vibe, but with Val Kilmer's body now, right? Like,
Oh wow.
yeah, absolutely. He's not doing good. Like, it doesn't look good. I mean, we can flash a photo up for that later, but yeah, it's not fabulous. So, anyways, there it was. There's so many stories in there that I can go with, but
talk to me, Goose.
There's so many fun stories in there. But okay, so talking about blowing flame.
Everyone, let's give a moment.
I know.
Breathe that in.
Luckily, the audience
we're
has
blowing-
no idea.
Blowing fire, if you will, right? So does everybody know what a flaming Dr. Pepper is? If not, I can build it real quickly for us.
I do. We may cut in.
Yeah, but
we
Okay.
I think you should build it.
Yeah.
Okay.
because-
So typically, a flaming Dr. Pepper is a shot that is built at the bar, right? You take a pint glass, you flip it over upside down, and then you put pint glasses next to it, depending on how many shots you're making. You pour a beer in about, maybe like 3 to 4 ounces, and then you take a 1 ounce shot glass and put it in between each one, right? So it's kind of setting up, right? So here you got your drink, here drink, and then you put amaretto in it, and then you put 151 on top of it. And so that's your shot, basically, right? And so, as we all know, 151 is fairly flammable. And so then you take the 151 and you kind of you put it in your mouth, right? And you get it in your mouth and you put it on your fingers, right? And then you typically you'll light your fingers. Now your fingers are on fire and you go and you blow, right? And so when you blow, it causes like a huge flame. And then the fire is going, and you hit the thing, and it goes da 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 da,
Like dominoes?
Dominoes, if you will. And then they pound them real quick,
And people lose their mind over this.
and
Yes.
sometimes their hair.
Yeah, only in your cases.
And that's not even the mind erasers that they're going to have later.
Yeah. So that's the backstory, right? Okay, and so it's the day before New Year's Eve, and it's myself and a mutual friend of ours, Rudy, and there's just 2 of us on this bar that is very, very long, right? So let's say it's probably 35 feet in width, and there's just 2 of us. So we have 16 feet of bar top in front of us. By the way, most people can probably handle 4 to 5, and
How many?
feet,
How many?
not inches. Chris.
Yes. Okay. All right. I knew it.
And so I saw that look in his face. He's like, I can handle more. And so anyways, right. So we're getting hammered. It's just hammered, not drinking, hammered, bartending. Holy shit, this is one of the busiest nights. They way understaffed us. Well, Rudy gets ready to go blow flame and somehow gets the 151 on his face and fucking catches his face on fire. And I'm I look over and I hear him. He's going patting his face. I go, fuck. So I run over real quickly. I grab him. I put him out with his fucking with his own gun. Right. I'm put him out. His face is beet red. So now I got this whole thing by myself. Oh my god. I'm this is not good. So then remember Andy? Call Andy.
Yeah.
So then Andy comes over to help me, right? Because they're shit, calling somebody because this is not good. We're
He was
losing
probably
money.
This is New
There's
Year's.
just probably bartenders
This is
drinking
stacked.
at the bar anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but it was
Yeah.
packed. It was
Yeah.
packed. They did not. Well, then so he would always pop open a beer with his finger, right, with his ring. Well, he did that, and the fucking bottle broke. So then he cut his hand. So I'm dude, now they brought in the lefty, and he's injured.
Andy's
Another one
down.
bites
Yeah, so
the
Andy's
dust.
down, right? So then it's
So
just me.
Rudy's got a beat face by Dre, and then Andy's bloody left.
I feel like
Oh,
this is
dude.
some Austin bar video game.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
You're
So-
the bartender, and how many things can go wrong?
Oh my gosh, this is it, right? And I'm just well, here I go. I've got this on my own, and needless to say, I
Enter bachelor party number 1.
Bachelorette.
I got my ass handed to me, and but that was the story on blowing flame, is that people catching themselves on fire or me catching other people on fire, legit just caught his face on fire, and I had to put him out.
Oh my god. Well, luckily that has never happened to zoos.
No, but I used to do them so much that the 151 would just eat the insides of your mouth.
Facts.
Because, you'd make so much money on those. Mm-hmm. People, they were expensive. How much were those at the time? $12 each? Which is nothing now, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't even
right.
get a drink in
They're
Austin for $12.
They're $12 each. What is this, Miami? I'd be no, it's Austin.
Yeah, but I'd be you have to order 10,
Damn,
Yeah, you line them up.
dude, she's a hustler.
Yeah.
Sell water to a
I
whale.
was there to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. So my hustle was Denise, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, would sit at the bar and guys would like to come up, offer to buy her shots, and she'd be like, "Yeah, let's do Flaming Dr. Peppers." So she would like set them up and hustle them the whole time, basically,
Love
to
it.
get my ring up.
I love it.
Wow.
Go Denise.
Yeah, absolutely, pretty cool.
Shout out.
Big props.
I will say the bar scene and then moving or like, painting and then moving into like the art world and like owning businesses and like growing up, if you will, like I've gotten so many jobs off of those opportunities, off of those people, from those people. Like I'm still working with all those people still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed too, is the relationships are strong from there, and everyone just had kept evolving.
Yeah.
And then we still a lot of times find our way back into, venues with that bar component that like kind of is that celebration, that fundraiser, those live events, those cultural events. And so it's all still full circle, to the watering hole, so to speak. But it's cool to see everyone growing from that.
For sure.
I think that's a good kind of segue to talking more about some of the things that you guys have done together. Because for sure, Chris and I, the same. I mean, granted, we're brother and sister, but a lot of the same relationships and collaborating. But I feel like you guys have really both dynamically gone from Treasure Island to.
I mean,
Treasure
she's on top of
makers.
her game for
Treasure
sure.
makers.
I mean, like everywhere I look, I'm like, oh my gosh, Zuzu's on ACL. Zuzu's doing beer. Like you just did some crazy dope shit, man.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Same to you.
I mean,
You
not
also-
nearly as cool as you, but that's cool.
You do a lot of cool stuff, man.
Go on.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess
he's going to.
I guess our listeners might all
No.
not know Paul, but
No,
Paul,
you don't have to.
Paul is one of the best like party planner producers, I think, in the city. You do a lot of like charity give back events. You always include lots of different types of creatives and people. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of those events. I think you're a mentor to all the people who work with you and work for you. I mean, a lot of those guys are also my downtown homies when we were just taking shots at.
Dude, you're about to get yourself a PR job. Like, go off, queen. Like, dude, you're killing this.
Yeah, no.
I would have even said this stuff. Like,
Yeah, you crushed the game.
come on. No.
And
well,
you're
thank
creative
you.
on
By
top
the
of
way,
all of it.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I completely
greatly
agree.
appreciate that.
I completely agree.
Let me tell you one of the dopest Zuzu stories that I have. So a very good friend of mine I was in the military with, he's still in the military. He's about to retire next month and got invited to his retirement ceremony. And so his daughter is now 13 or 14 and just an amazing creative, like on an iPad. Like she's creating these like super dope, like, and it's like recording it. And I just want to turn it into, I was like, I want to tell him about NFTs because I'm like, bro, we can make some money. But but at the same time too, she's having trouble kind of like connecting people to school and obviously being a 13-year-old and all that stuff. And I was like, Josh, man, you got to bring her down here because I feel like, especially knowing Zuzu and how she is just such a positive person, but then two, just an amazing mentor and kind of the things that she's doing. And so I had asked Zuzu, I was like, hey, would you mind coming over and please just, having a conversation with Marissa, because Marissa is somebody that is just not connecting with people. And her parents are like, we don't know what to do. And so literally like Zuzu comes over and like, Marissa comes out and she's kind of like very shy at first, but it didn't take long for Marissa to really open up to Zuzu, which is amazing because this is somebody that hasn't been able to really open up to a lot of people other than her parents. And even then it's still kind of, that awkward kind of like situation. Right. And so to watch this, this teenager basically that's kind of going through a lot of things through development and everything else, but really just finds her outlet in art, and to be able to connect with Zuzu that way was just, I mean, I got chills thinking about it. That's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Because to me, that is just a testament of two people that are kind of building rapport at the same level, whatever their age or anything else. You have two artists that are there. And so they can connect at that level. And now all of a sudden, maybe the walls are down, so to speak. Right. And so in that case, it was just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that was super rad and that was a very special experience. I think working with kids and young artists who are like finding their way is just very fulfilling to me, whether it's like teaching spray paint lessons at the park or having conversations with young artists or classes or whatever it is. I just find it so fulfilling to like you just ask them about their art. Like, no, you know, they're not sitting in class and people are like, oh, what are you drawing? Show me. And they like have this engagement. Like I feel like artists are typically a little bit more introverted. Even when we're like loud and like out in the world, like we're usually, you know, moving inward all the time. And so when you can connect with another creative and just talk about art, I think, like you said, like walls break down and you get to connect with people. And it was super cool.
And then the next day we got to, you know, as they were heading back out to Killeen, we got, Zuzu was working on a piece over off of South Lamar. Super cool. And so then Marissa was actually able to drive over there and kind of see Zuzu in her, you know, kind of in her world. And I know it meant a lot to her and certainly to Josh and his wife Katya, because they're like, wow, we've just never seen her kind of just glow like that.
Yeah,
and so that's
so sweet.
That's pretty dope.
I love it. Amazing. Well, I have a great story of both of you when I was going to close on my new home for my kids, and I'm in the 12 Rivers office, and the whole mural behind me was done by you. And I was with my friend Karma, and just kind of talking about community and really seeing the ways that, you know, your company has also been really throughout doing all these events, but also just through your real estate company have really created a lot of relationships and, you know, visual moments that others get to really enjoy. That also makes a difference in the experience. So that's one of my Paul and Zuzu collab stories.
Well, you know, it's no secret that if you want to, you know, if you want to add some sort of a, you know, kind of a hipness or coolness vibe to an office, or kind of, you know, if you want to add culture to it or something that's different than just your normal, like, here's a photo of a Longhorn, blah, 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 most Austin offices. At that point, you have to you want to work and collab with creatives. And what I've loved with working with Zuzu on a couple different pieces now is that just her vision and what she comes up with is just absolutely beautiful and amazing.
Luckily, we like the same shit, so it works out.
Right?
Yeah,
I know.
like we're into the same.
25-cent wells.
Dollar
Triple.
Dollar triple.
Yeah.
Wow.
Home of the $4 Long Island iced tea on Fridays.
Yes.
I can't wait for some people to be like Googling this.
Yeah.
Like listening
I
and
hope
like,
they
what
don't.
is Treasure Island? And then they
Yeah,
go
we're
look
probably
at
going to get implicated. They're going to be like, the IRS missed 2 of them.
On this episode of Hidden Treasures, we unfold.
How is that legal? Like, I feel like part of what the Mexican martini, there's like a limit, right? You can only have 2. Like,
No rules at Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were no limit soldiers out there.
I thought I told you. No limit soldiers.
That's right. They make them say, never mind.
Nah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you this, though. The good thing about the Mex Mars, if you will, is that you can then go to another one, right? So they called it the Trudy's Triple. Did you guys ever do that back in the day?
You go to another
Where
location.
you would go to each one. And so if you could do 6.
Super safe.
Yeah.
Super safe.
Super obviously Ubering to each one.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry,
in
listeners.
2003.
Yeah.
we're like,
Pedicabs weren't even out.
I know.
The ride shares were shotgun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not driving.
I have not done that though.
Really?
What did you
No.
just call it? The Trudy
The
what?
Trudy's Triple.
The Trudy's Triple.
You go to all
Because
3
you know Trudy's
locations,
are
you
like-
get 2 each,
Yeah.
and you
Right.
hopefully survive.
Wow. No, never. Didn't even.
The only thing that saved me was that I'd spill half of it on the pour because I was that guy. I know nobody else does. Why I'm talking to bar-related people, but
Oh, you wouldn't have your job if you did that.
I
in
didn't.
our business.
I didn't.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
would,
at that time, I was
you
like,
would not be working at Treasure Island. I promise you
the
that.
customer. I was a customer, and I just spilled.
Yeah,
half.
that's
Well,
fair.
maybe we should do the Trudy's Triple, and then we should go to 80s
Document
night.
it.
80s night
I
at
love
Barbarella.
that for us.
Right?
Did we just make a night?
I think we
Wow.
did.
I love that.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
Did we just make a double date?
We have all this room for activity.
Bring everybody.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
By the way,
sponsored by Lyft.
do you guys have?
Yes. Perfect.
I've been working on my 80s dance moves though. So like, if we do this, like, is there any way that we can commission the studio to kind of make it this a piece? Like, can we do like a little piece with this?
Like a.
A video piece?
Yeah, like a little video piece of like our night. We're gonna document our night.
I think they're excited and they're talking about it out there right now.
Yeah.
But they have to drink along with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can make this happen. We'll sign some T's and dot some I's, and we'll just get it going. But please initial here on the liability on this. But yeah, we're on it.
We can get the proper insurance.
Okay.
I have a guy.
Okay. Let's do it. We're in.
Word.
I know. Well, I mean, Paul has you have a whole production entourage at this point. Like, he doesn't just come in kind of ready. Like, he calls you with an idea. You're like, I was not prepared as with all this preparedness that you have.
The problem with me is I come up with a lot of ideas right there. Like, I should have been 2 weeks ago idea, but it's like, hey, we're doing this thing. Oh my God, we can do this, that, and that, because I just don't think about it.
It's on the fly. It's called a paudable or an audible or paudable. I'm working on it, but it's like.
I'm going to trademark that. Thank you.
Okay,
Don't worry.
yours.
You'll get a dime every time.
Hey, that's all I need.
You can finally make a phone call.
Just need a dime. One that's top of the line.
Or a dime bag.
All right.
See, sometimes they're gems.
Yeah.
You know? They're keepers.
Yeah.
You got to swing and a miss.
And then
swing and
sometimes
miss.
you're born with them.
That's all right. I can't give it away.
Just leave it on a train.
All the way to New Hampshire.
You guys really tied that right back in. That was impressive.
Yeah.
So if we do this trip,
Coast.
are we allowed? Will places make the Flaming Dr. Pepper at
No,
this point?
no, I don't think so.
I haven't seen one.
I bet you we could get a place to let us make them, though.
I mean,
Have you done one in a while?
No, but
It's
I would.
Fucking scary.
the last place I've seen that has done something fire-based was the Roosevelt Room, but it's all classy and they keep it.
Oh, yeah,
They keep
yeah.
it
There's
very,
nothing classy
This is
about
the
what we're
opposite.
talking
No,
about.
This is the opposite.
Yeah.
know.
No, I remember in college, being down at the Ritz playing pool and friends being like, let's go down and have Flaming Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? And then the first time I saw that, and I was like, there's
It's
nothing
so
safe
fun.
about this at all.
And
this is not like a sake bomb.
And the more that I think about it, it's probably you certainly couldn't do it during COVID times. You know what I mean? Because
jeez.
what's the odds that all of it burns up when I spit it out of my mouth?
Oh, well,
right?
now you can't even blow
But
out
it is a
birthday cake
sanitizer.
candles.
That's a sanitizer
that's
that you're
fair.
spitting.
Oh, that's true. That's a
I don't know
really
if that's
good
good or
point.
bad.
You're actually sanitizing the
Throat.
bar.
It's a throat sanitizer.
Yeah.
Pause.
Speaking of COVID
Throat
times,
sanitizers.
what did y'all what did y'all get through creatively during that time? Did you get into any projects or anything?
I did.
Yeah.
But I want to hear you first.
Are we talking about during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh,
During the pandy.
During the pandy.
yeah, during the pandemic. That's a cute way to say that. I did. That was a slow time for artists, and myself included. Not a fun time to be a muralist because nobody needed their walls painted where they weren't working and nobody knew what the fuck was going on. But Andy actually got me my biggest job during the pandemic, which was
What?
yeah, many thanks. Creating a mural for one of our mutual friends that opened a high-end sound experience.
Yeah, it's a high-end audio gallery, sound sanctuary.
Where?
It's right in the Triangle. Oh my God, you haven't been yet? Oh, geez. Yeah, okay, we got to make that
gotta go.
happen.
I just put myself in the uncool kids category.
We'll go there
No.
first. We won't go there last. We'll go there and then Trudy's triple.
Yeah, it's like nobody
Or maybe
opens
in
the shitty
between.
bottle of wine first, right? Give them the good stuff, and then they'll slowly trickle into the bad stuff because you won't
Yeah.
taste it.
No.
Or then you turn
Definitely.
the water into wine.
Flaming Dr. Peppers.
Can we talk about that real
then
quickly?
Wait, what?
Jesus somehow confused people, be like, yeah, it's wine, I swear, but it was really water, and they were so drunk that they believed it.
It was probably a Pinot Gris or something.
He was super good at convincing people. Holy shit!
It's a little salty. I don't know what it is.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
Wow.
I just had
Okay,
some pineapple.
So anyway, so yeah, zoos.
I
It's
completely forgot what I was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sound Sanctuary
Yes, okay.
Project.
no, yeah, this mural turned
Yes.
out incredible.
I'm sure it did.
It is super
course.
rad.
Duh.
It was one of those projects that I thought was going to be a quick turnaround, and then it ended up just being so intense. Similar to the style I did for your Level Up wall, where I took photos and then pretty much collage them, cut them out, tear them, and then wheat paste them and collage them onto the wall. But it ended up being thousands of images of musicians. I mean,
Jesus.
so many. And then there
Layers
was
on
this-
layers.
so many layers, and then there
Layers.
was painting over it.
There's no empty space.
No.
Every piece, there's no
it's incredibly
really
concentrated.
Hugely impressive.
And for is this a 8-foot by 50-foot wall? What's the dimensions on that?
It was probably 8 feet tall, and let's say
You just about called it. That's it.
What did you
Good
say?
job, Paul. He's about 8 by 50. I mean,
It was a big wall.
Yeah.
And it had like multiple doors that like I also had to like bring the design over and the wall like wrapped around. It's huge.
Wow.
You gotta go see it.
Super fabulous and super fun. But during the pandemic, it like saved my life. Having purpose, being able to create, making some money, like being able to collaborate with my artist friends and like, because it took 10 times longer than I thought it was going to. And so that was for sure my best project during the pandemic. It was just really nice to be able to be creative again and like work again,
Well, and I remember, I've always loved that, as we all do, like being able to help friends out or know someone's looking for this. And then you're like, oh my God, you want to do this dinner party? This guy's the perfect DJ for it. Or, and, but
Andy is the queen of this, by the way, of connecting. I think all of us are creatives and connectors in this room for sure. But Andy has a true gift of just bringing people together. Same with you, man.
I think that is creative in itself, right? Is to like be able to kind of like, for me, I'm very visual, so it's like kind of like visualize. Oh, this person should meet with this person. They should collab, and so I would agree. I think Andy's amazing at it.
Oh, well, thank you. But definitely during the pandy.
On this episode of Andy and the Pandy.
Hey.
Ooh.
No, Ashley Metro, she said that on a show with us. She said, and the pandy, and we're like, what did you just say? Like, that's the best thing ever. But I think I was also enjoying kind of spending a little bit more time on ideas and, with having the brain and the heart wonder, like, what the fuck's going to happen? What if everything's going to change after this? And so treating your projects or things differently. So I really enjoyed walking in and seeing the finished piece, because I felt both of your excitements and knowing that you both put more time into something that normally you would have both treated totally differently, And that being just so cool, I feel, through what we've all been through, to see that in people's art and creativity just because of that. The more time that was taken to paint or to cook or sew or, there's just like, CK, even when he started doing his cooking shows, just like,
Dude,
let's go.
Of course, he like had a starter for yeast and was making bread and like everything else. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
crazy.
For real, though.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
Fuck, that was good.
That was a good one. I'm going to give you that.
1 for 10.
Yeah. Oh.
Keep it going though.
Oh, man. Well, okay. So, but
For real,
Paul,
though. That's good. Yes.
I know there were some like secret parties during COVID. Come on, during the pandemic.
Well, okay. First and foremost, I am an early adapter to COVID. I received COVID in March of 2020.
You said that like you got a letter delivered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Got a letter from the government the other day.
We homies. So, it was one of those things where like, dude, the NBA, like, dude, you're getting ready for South by Southwest, right? Oh, wow. And like the NBA like shuts down. I'm like, oh shit, this is for real. Like, because before that it was just like something's happening overseas. Yeah, whatever. There's not affecting us. And then Seattle, oh shit. They done breached Normandy. And then like all of a sudden, people start walking off. And meanwhile, like I'm getting ready for South by, like I had just sent Busta Rhymes a lot of money and now it's kind of like our money, but he holds on to it. A lot like Debo with the bike. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see if I can bring him back, but
he's got you all in check, or he's got
he's got
your
your check.
Yeah. He took it down to the wire.
Woo-ha, I got Paul's check.
That's a lot.
All right.
And one of my favorite musical acts is called Rufus the Soul, and so they were booking out at Coda, and I somehow was able to convince them to throw an after party, and I wanted to do a pop-up that Friday of South by at my office. I was going to have Rufus the Soul in the office, which would be fucking silly.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And at the same time, so dude, like I'm going forward with it. I'm still like, whatever, pandemic. Like I don't, look, at the end of the day, I don't read anything, right? Like it's unfortunately the gift and the curse of me is I never know what the fuck's going on. And so like literally like that Friday, I have them fence off the whole office, right? Because I'm like, dude, this is going to be a thing. I bring in like comfort stations and have them legit like support the floors. Because I'm thinking this is going to be a rager. And at the time, at the time in which we're like, you know, people are like, yeah, doctors are like, oh my God, you're going to die. And I'm thinking like, party. Because again, I'm like, you know, so aloof because I'm in my own world that I'm not like, you know, which is great when you talk to somebody that's like QAnon because they're like, oh, I've done my research. I said, I haven't done any research. And I'm sorry that you feel that way, but I don't. And so if anybody here is QAnon, I'm sorry for you. But anyways.
You're safe.
I've done my research. So anyways, back to the story. And so, dude, like legit, like employees. And then I'm on this like Coachella thread and like there's a bunch of doctors on there and they're all going off on it. And meanwhile, like I put the flyer for this party on the thread thinking it would be funny. And they were like stop. Somebody calls me like your career is going to be over. Thankfully, he didn't call that one right. And so,
was it Rufus to Paul?
Yeah, right.
Never mind.
And so I basically all my employees are like, dude, you can't throw this party here. And I'm like, you're not going to tell me what I can't do. And so I was like, well, you know what? You're probably right. I guess this is serious. Like, I can't do it at the office. So, like, I pivoted and threw it someplace else as, like, a private party. And it was fucking awesome.
And it was amazing. I didn't make it,
phenomenal.
but yeah.
It was good. Don't worry. I haven't released any of the footage.
Yeah.
But I can. I'm sitting on a lot of content from things I shouldn't have done. And so it goes off, you know, and instead of it being, like, a 150-person party, it was, like, 50-ish. And it was a blast. It was a good time. And it was the last thing that they did prior to the pandemic. Was not the last thing I did. But come to find out,
Shocker.
That was the first super spreader. So that's why I say like COVID and I, we go way back because COVID has sent me a couple like get well soon cards because I haven't been doing stuff lately to help support the COVID movement.
I thought it went well.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't make it, but
Yeah.
I heard it was amazing. But
It was great.
Maybe I did know.
I'm imagining like the Eminem song "Stand," but it's like COVID's like, dear Paul.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's like we miss you.
Streets have got a lost soul.
But like, can you imagine, right? So at the time, like maybe out of 50 people, let's say 6 people got it, which is a lot. But if it was like Omicron, it'd have been like everybody got it. So,
not just helping the.
Should have had them flaming Dr. Peppers to clear everybody out.
But at the end of the day, the people that were there, they understood what the potential. Maybe they didn't understand because nobody understood at that point. But a lot of people that were there, they're like, "Man, thank you for doing this because like we just needed something to get away from everything that's going on right now."
Yeah.
And a lot of times, that's just what people need.
Yes, no, for sure. I definitely have enjoyed so far, at the show, us being able to talk about that too. That loneliness, and more laughter, levity. That a lot of that like helps you be healthy, and being able to create or dance or even smile like this is really great for your immunity, and your creativity. So some of the things that people did, especially creatives, we have to get extra creative.
Oh, we did.
No, that's what I'm saying. That when I was like, oh, wait, what? There's a what? I'm like, they're like, there'll be a shuttle. I'm like, there's gonna be a shuttle?
I haven't been on a shuttle in a year.
They've got you covered with hand sanitizers and masks on the shuttle. I'm like, word.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, but we got to the point where we started getting everybody tested.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
we were able
had
to
that
procure like
You had to evolve your parties.
300 tests and get everybody. We'd have nurses and they'd have to go to a spot and get everybody tested, and everybody would have to have a negative COVID test before they jumped on the bus.
Right.
Which is very responsible, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and now we also know that still and doesn't. I mean.
Yeah. Look. Hey. Look. I was just going with the information I had. Okay. Like, look. It's not.
I was doing my best.
I mean.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, they used to like let kids lick lead paint, and now we know that's not okay, right? So like, it's the same thing. Same.
I know. Just wait till 20 years from now when And they sit around and like talk like 2 inches from microphones, and they had no idea.
Shit, I don't even know what's next. There's so much stuff. Virtual NFTs. What? I don't know. What's everyone's think on all that? Topics.
I'm down to. I want to learn more about NFTs. It's like something that my brain doesn't. It doesn't make perfect sense to my brain, but I love the idea of creating a piece of art and then continuing to make money on it. That's exciting.
Especially when it's this large scale. You know, your work, you can't take the wall home.
Yeah,
you know, so
it like
how
lives
best
its
can you
life
do
and then it's done. But
Exactly.
yeah, in the Web 3.0 world, I'm learning new terminology about
You're
this.
so hip.
Fucking hip, man.
Yeah, you are.
I know 3 words.
What's the third?
Flaming.
As you're saying, I was like,
Doctor.
I don't even know 3. Pepper. Yeah, no, I think NFTs are cool. And I think artists are like starting to talk about it, but like not too many of us are really doing it. So I'm excited to get in on it. I just haven't made the time. It doesn't really excite me.
Well, I definitely also have spent COVID learning more about all of that, getting more in tune, figuring out our programs, and it is fascinating. But you know, when Ready Player One came out, that writer lives here, and I was already feeling something really different, and now it's here, you know, and you know that movie premiered during South by here. And, you know, just kind of going back to more of the ways that we hire and promote artists and creatives in this city. And so, yeah, I think there's a whole new future of things that we're going to be doing here in the metaverse, and in the physical and the digital. But
It's still pretty early. I feel like specifically in the whole metaverse thing, right? Because you think about like there's people spending ridiculous amounts of what would be like kind of like the equivalent of US dollars on like land, virtual land to be next to Snoop. And if you think about it, like those aren't people that are necessarily taking, you know, say $450,000 and then transferring it into Ethereum and then purchasing it. These are people that bought Ethereum a long time ago when it was next to nothing, and they're sitting on a ton of money, digital money, but it could then be transferred into US dollars or whatever currency they decide to. And it's just, it's interesting to watch because I'm seeing a lot of people purchasing real property, like in the actual world, with crypto, and they're spending tons of money because I think one thing that I've seen is like, imagine you are you're a career whatever, right? And you've built your wealth over time, and you're like, man, I've saved up and I'm going to buy this piece of real estate. And I've worked hard to get it, and that's a crowning thing. There are people right now that have, only been doing this, say, for 2 years that are sitting on millions of dollars that really didn't have to work for it. And so their perception of how hard it is to actually earn money is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry,
the
I'm not
artist.
sorry. My bad. I was getting the last sip of coffee out.
My bad, Zuzu.
So we're going to segue to the Cypress Hill song real quick.
Let's do,
We'll be back in 5 minutes.
no perception of hard work.
Go on.
Or what it takes to go through the military. Is someone?
Are you high right now? Yeah. Okay. So, dude, these people are sitting on tons of money, and so they're buying real estate at like prices that don't necessarily, they can't be justified.
Right.
But to them, there's no like real perception of the connection of work and money.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's. I don't know. Gosh, I'm not sure how to describe a lot of it because, again, going back to getting creative during the pandy.
Speaking of which, did anybody get a handy during the pandy?
Well, I don't. We're,
Just asking. I'm married, so I think that was great. That's
so much.
phenomenal.
I was too busy eating all this candy that I.
So this episode is sponsored by Pandy Wipes that helps you clean. All right. No.
I can't wait to buy some Landy in the pandy.
Oh, yeah.
During the pandemic, we did our Hope for Health campaign and started painting all the boarded up bars and restaurants down
That was
here.
so dope, by the way.
Yeah. I really have been realizing how many things we actually did do during COVID.
That was a pretty big project. I mean, there was tons of artists involved in that like created a whole gallery down 36th Street that was just boarded up windows. I mean, it was super sad to see that, and then it just lit up with artwork.
Yeah, well, and the whole point, we put together all the health wellness bags because I just wanted to make sure that our artists were like healthy. That was the weird part, like going to the store and all the toilet paper's gone. And literally, I remember filming and going to the end cap of every aisle where they have vitamin C, like all these multivitamins. It's just packed. There's like no toilet paper. And I'm just like, man, we are living in idiocracy. Like, what's gonna happen?
I can't wipe my ass. No. That's why I bought mine.
That's when the bidet business went up.
Hell yeah.
But there were a lot of creative things. I felt like so many DJs started doing more dance parties,
Live streaming.
We
Oh
did some
my gosh.
stuff at Native with DJs and bartenders, and then we just all started figuring like, well, what are we gonna do?
You just had to pivot and be more creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure out how to have more private parties at the lake.
Yes.
This one.
Hey man, it was a good time. I think some of the things too, like when the pandemic happened and I had fully recovered from COVID, there was a lot of people kind of doing like the whole like Zoom happy hour thing. And so we started doing stuff where it's like, all right, we're going to invite our friends. We're all going to go. The first one we did was Slab. And so Raph and them were doing some really cool things. Like every time that somebody bought a rack of ribs, they would buy PPE with it or just do some sort of a donation. Which was great. That kind of gave me an idea to say, look, we're going to start streaming, and basically from all the funds that are raised, we're going to basically purchase PPE, which was cool because then I found myself dealing in like the back alleys for like masks, basically, and and really was happy that I had some experience in that back in the day because it felt just like I'm like, look, bro, like don't fuck me over. Like this is for charity. Like I know you're gonna go sell these masks for $5 a piece to somebody, but like all this money, I'm a steward of these folks' money, and I'm literally going to go donate it to folks that are fighting in the front line. So that was fun. That kind of gave me purpose at that point, right? Because it's like when real estate in March and April kind of had shut down and we're like, oh my God, are we essential? Are we not essential? Thankfully we were essential. What are we going to do? And so, jumping into the live stream space and really kind of embracing it. I literally took like all the PPP that I received and threw it into live streaming. And I'm like, fuck, I should have put it in crypto. But but that's okay. Here we are. And it was a ton of fun. It was an experience. And we rented a warehouse and did these like live streams where in our first year we had over 1 million views and we raised like $150,000. And it was a good time too. Like it was cool to be able to employ the guys that hadn't been able to work doing all the back stuff on the producing side. And then also, being able to help out DJs and paying them. And then, all of a sudden that was that.
And like not just the performers, but like the outreach that everyone's getting from being able to be a witness at home to that helped a lot of people in that way feel normal, inspired, dancing in the kitchen, whatever it could be. But the idea of community still going, that was huge. It's much bigger than we all think, at least the way I view it. But.
For sure. Well, okay, so Zeus, I don't want to talk all about just like pandemic stuff,
Okay.
but I know you ended up doing some huge projects with a beer company, a different liquor. I mean, I got the pleasure of getting to see you in your studio pretty often during that time,
Yeah.
and so what were some of those projects that you were doing?
Did a lot of different projects. When things started to pick back up, it like picked up really quickly, and it's been really great since then. So I'm really grateful that I'm like back in the swing of things. I like to hustle. I like to work. So that was a bummer time for me. So anyways, on the positive note, I did a really big project for Chameleon Cold Brew, which started in Austin. That was really fun. I got to paint a huge mural on the east side, and they did this whole like behind the scenes video and an interview in the art studio. I had, a team of artists that day to do my face, which was really exciting. Felt like queen status that day.
Yeah, but you don't need that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Agreed.
I don't know. You see yourself on film, and I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, that was really fun. Lots of like local brand partnerships. Like I've just been in Austin for so long, and like we were talking about going to UT, working downtown, bartending for all those years, and working for different art organizations, and working with Hope. Like I've just met so many people that. I'm lucky enough to not have to do a lot of outreach, and people just reach out and they say, hey, we have this project, we want this wall, we have this idea, and then we get to collaborate and create these like wonderful, bright projects, each one being totally different. So my job never gets boring. But I love it all, y'all know I want to spray paint all the walls in the world. But I think doing other stuff is really cool too, like packaging designs. Like I've done some partnerships with local liquor brands and breweries, and for Hops for Hope, where you actually like get to hold your art in your hand, which is pretty cool. It's much different than being on a wall. So those were all really fun.
By the way, that's not an NFT. Because
Not
you can't hold those in your hand, unfortunately.
True.
It sucks.
Oh, but
You can screenshot it.
But I was going to say, can I take a
It
photo
can-
of it? And then that's convenient. I
can't.
thought anything could be
Well,
an
you
NFT.
can't.
Well-
You can't technically trade it at that point, but yeah.
Not true, because once, with the metaverse, and if you have everything can exist there and in the physical world. Anyway, we'll get back to our lives in a video game, which essentially is Ready Player One.
You know what would be so disheartening is like if like the metaverse thing like super pops off and like all of a sudden like I'm like an avatar for Denise's metaverse and it doesn't look at all like me. That would be so
For your
sad.
wife- for your
yeah, for my
wife's-
wife. It'd be
for your
like,
wife's-
babe, he's like 5'7" and svelte. I'm not.
Did you say
You know what I mean?
felt?
Svelte.
Oh.
Svelte.
Spelt.
It's like Paul when he was at Platinum X.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, but that, we've all seen Ready Player One, right?
For sure.
Okay. So, essentially that, is a very probable thing.
I just
You
have
know?
to say it out loud. I am not down with that outcome of humanity. I love everything in the physical. Like,
For sure.
Okay.
which is why NFTs and like the whole like metaverse web 3.0, the whole thing is like I feel like there's like a bit of a blockage where I like want to step into it, but also I'm like,
You like
Well,
plants. You like
I
you
like
like the
plants.
sun.
I
You
like the trees.
tangible
Yeah,
nature.
for
Yeah.
sure.
How many cats do you have?
0 cats, so many plants.
What
though.
about dogs?
I just got a puppy.
Nice. What kind?
He is half pit bull, yes, and a quarter German Shepherd, and then a quarter like other weird dogs. Yeah,
I love that.
total mutt. He's
That's
a
great.
sweetie. Yeah,
Amazing.
can't wait for you guys to meet him.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, it's like who needs a man when you have a dog?
Yeah,
That's how I feel.
I know. Like, listens to you.
That's-
No judgment.
He's outside.
Usually.
I mean,
Yeah.
listens to you.
That's
Doesn't
rough
talk back.
for all those
Hey.
Gives you all the kisses.
potential.
Yeah.
We go so far with that.
But go on. I didn't mean to
Well-
interrupt you. I was just saying I like the physical world. So like Ready Player One is like cool in theory, but also like super not cool
Oh,
to me.
I completely agree and feel, but I think maybe another analogy that I've been finding useful is video games. I mean, really the same way that's been going on for years where guys will go home and get on their, Sega.
Wives? No. Okay.
Oh,
Sorry. I thought this was Mad Libs.
Yeah. Well, and that would be amazing if we have a show all about that.
So on.
But I think
get
that
on the video game,
Yeah,
PS5,
sorry.
whatever.
that has already been going on where it's like this other life. It's not here's your
Facts.
life and then here's this other life where you get to be someone else, and in there are all your other friends that you're playing against all over the world. And so now that's going to become its own whole more fuller world.
Well, it already is.
Right, yes.
Think
yes,
about,
that's another thing. It already very much is.
Think about World of Warcraft, right? Like World of Warcraft was let's call it the D&D of, even go back further, go D&D, you know what I mean? When they didn't have computers, but these are people that were living in a world in which where it was a fantasy world, so to speak, one that is not necessarily tangible. that would connect on a different way. And again, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships, right? And
That's
so
true.
some folks are able to connect with people, maybe not in the physical space, but they're able to connect with people because they're not in the same room with them,
Totally.
Right.
which is crazy to think about.
Well, or even that their fantasy version of life is more what they're drawn to, and that we also have been doing as human beings forever. So now, I mean, it's
Yeah. What are some of yours?
so these
Sorry,
walls
brother's
can't
here.
talk.
Yeah. These walls can't talk.
Those
Fair. I mean, that's where you're going with that.
These closets don't open.
so many skeletons.
So many skeletons. No.
Is that a body? Oh my gosh.
Is that a unicorn outfit?
Oh my gosh.
Is that a My Little Pony?
Is that one of those Japanese dolls that people marry?
Wow.
That's like the male's version. That's like if you're a guy, like, females have dogs, they listen. Guys are like, I want the doll that doesn't talk.
Some guys.
I'm kidding.
We've asked each guest to tell us what they'd like to have on a brick. And, even though I think both of you might even already have some, we found this part to be pretty cool. So far, it's friends have said stuff either of what they want the world, what you want a friend to know, or what you want to inspire, or
I've been thinking about this for a while.
oh man,
Do you know what you would do? Or what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be like super inspirational? Maybe I should go first because mine's just pretty dry.
Oh no, mine's not inspirational at all. It's a movie quote that only some people will get.
Okay, I probably won't get it. Go for it.
I would like it to say like smoking, drinking, and all types of ill shit.
What is that from? I like it though.
Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. It's a Damon Wayans collab
It's the
movie.
spoof of all.
Yeah,
Of all,
yeah. It's like
best
a
spoof.
hip hop like movie spoof.
Okay.
And he's like the dude's name's Loke Dog. Let me set this up for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
me there.
so Marlon Wayans is a character by the name of Loke Dog, and he's just kind of hilarious. And so he's at a job interview, and he's just like, he's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "Smoking, drinking, and all types of ill shit." And so like I've always just wanted to, like, I was thinking about putting that as my bio, just because I think it would be fucking awesome. And people are either going to be like, wow, that is amazing, or people will be like, I'm not going to work with him. But either way, I only want to work with the people that are like, wow, that's amazing, because those are my people.
Yeah, weed them out.
And I really don't want to work with people that aren't my
Literally
people.
weed them
Same.
out.
Yeah. Loke Dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't inspirational at all. It's
I
just
like
more
it.
of a,
I like it a lot.
it's funny. But
It's great.
now, would I actually do that? Probably not. But
Really?
That's the one.
maybe.
Though.
I mean, if you had like two bricks and like one of them is put by like another name, like,
So like,
so that you could be like, that's like the
so,
inside
yeah,
joke.
Live, laugh, love, Paul Smith.
Yeah. Smoking, drinking, and all types of ill shit.
Loke Dog.
Look, dog.
I think on mine, I would do Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
Nice.
There we go.
Love
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I live by that.
That's
It's,
great.
I know. It's the brick thing has turned into a thing.
Oh, it should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh well, now we're already talking about having like a full karaoke night with all. Full, yeah, it's maybe turned into like an annual party.
I love that.
Great.
You know I did recently that was a lot of fun was lip sync battle.
Oh, fun.
Because you don't necessarily have to sing, because some people are not great at singing.
Right.
But everybody thinks that they can like crush a song.
That's right. And they don't have to know the lyrics, and half of the second verse is all flubbed up and shit.
Yeah.
That they can just get into choreography and like everything they need to do.
Facts.
Yeah, and then it
And
still
play the Super Bowl.
It still sounds good, so your audience isn't groaning in the back. They're actually still into it.
Shots fired.
Just saying, not your audience, but my audience. Just saying.
Who are you, when you said that, who did you have in mind?
I actually didn't even get to see, and I was just reminded of the years when
Oh, fair.
when you could tell.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, I would have preferred to not know. It's really liking the show.
I feel like that
You're doing
happens on
such a good-
SNL.
Oh yeah. But I love that. I totally dig that. And I think choreography, full presentation is way more fun than hearing your friend sing
Scream
really
into a
good
microphone.
or not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have that one friend that like crushes it, and then everybody else is just like, I'm not singing next to that person.
Yeah.
That person's really good.
That happened to me. I went on a date at Club de Ville, now Cheer Up Charlie's, back in the day.
Ooh, wow.
And went on a date with an opera singer.
Did you know?
Oh, I knew. But, and I sang like, I mean, it's Club de Ville, so it's not trying to be poppy. It's like,
That was the first karaoke.
well, yeah.
Opera?
And
No, the first. Do you remember? This is,
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yeah, back in
1990.
Club de Ville?
Yeah.
So I'm on a date trying to be light and break the ice and shit. So I do some track and do a song, and everyone else there is doing like New Order or The Clash or something. And she goes up, she's all modest. I don't think I should. And then
No, man, don't do this,
meets my
but,
other friends and do they have any Whitney Houston?
Fuck.
And she's like, and like everyone leaves. All done. All gone.
Oh my God.
All gone.
She's like,
Over.
hello?
Should have left that one in the bathtub.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
wow.
That was horrible.
That was awful.
Horrible.
Coming up next to the stage. Anyone?
I'm done.
Anyone?
Yep, it's over.
Wait, the bartender's left too? Everyone's gone?
Yeah. They're like,
man.
God damn it, Whitney's here.
It was. Sorry.
Go get your oat stage.
Yeah, right.
So we're gonna head to Trudy's. We're gonna try to do a little triple up. We're gonna try to find some Flaming Dr. Peppers. We're gonna try to find some karaoke and lip sync battles.
I think one of the questions we were supposed to be asked about was our favorite art piece that we've ever done.
Oh, yes.
I have one, and it involves Zuzu.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, here we go.
It was absolutely amazing.
Oh, wow.
It's probably the thing that I'm actually looking at trying to get this like made into like we can get it framed and then give it to everybody because it was fucking epic.
Who wants to start?
Yeah.
Take it away.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it from your perspective because I was so enveloped in the creation of the artwork.
I
that-
mean,
yeah.
amazing, right? So we are at my house, and this is still kind of like the streaming thing, but we were being very COVID conscious. There wasn't a lot of people there, maybe 10, 15,000. No, just kidding, 10 or 15, right? And we're streaming in the living room. DJs are playing, and then in the back, on the island, which is imagine like this is the camera here, and
So many islands.
yeah, it's lots of them. And so then, our back is to the camera. And so we had all taken some mushrooms, and then we brought out Play-Doh.
Play-Doh?
Play-Doh.
You bunch of silly Sivans.
And then we, I love that for us. And so then we basically started to create art on the island with Play-Doh, and we made a almost like an under the sea kind of diorama vibe, and like legit, like dude, just 4 super creatives at that point just came up with this just amazing piece on like a white like backdrop, if you will. And it was, I mean, one of the proudest art pieces I've ever done, because my level of art normally is like when the thing was like put your biggest thing of art here, I was just gonna like do a stick figure with like some arms because that's where I'm at. And so I would like to thank Zuzu for helping, because this is like, to me, that was like the crowning like art thing that I've ever done, and it was because of you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it was pretty magnificent. I don't know how long we sat at that island.
Hours.
But it's like we couldn't. I mean, his wife was right next to me. We just could not get up. I mean, we just sat there making shapes out of Play-Doh and made this whole
I'll
scene
send you the photo, by the way.
all
It's
over
amazing.
the counter. And then we got done, and I was like, man, what are we gonna do with this now? Like, it has to live here forever.
Yeah.
Right.
But also,
You didn't just, I don't know. I feel like,
took
what
some
happened?
photos of it. Well, my so Denise is also like everything in the house is like has a specific spot. Like if you saw like our pantry, it's like it looks like Container Store basically. And so for that to like live there probably gave her the most anxiety in the world. So we took some photos, and then we kind of packaged it back up. But it is absolutely amazing, and to just know the amount of love and effort that went into that, like really, really was amazing. So thank you for helping me with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, okay. And interestingly, that's also to me the perfect example of how Hope Outdoor Gallery even came about. I mean, the purpose of street art, or some street art, the purpose of open mics, the idea of mandalas and just creating them and then blowing them away. The act of it, and then the memory of it, and the doing of together, that some things are not meant to last forever. We should let go of some things and not store up so much storage space of stuff.
Yeah.
And then to have content for shows like this.
Yeah. But still leaving room to play, though.
Play.
What if we turn that into an NFT?
Oh, I love that.
That could be the first NFT.
Great.
First
You
one?
go ahead and set that up.
I will. I got people.
I'm here for it.
I actually have a custom 12 Rivers NFT.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I got a guy.
Of course he does.
What if we had shirts that were like legit, it just says NF on it?
That's actually
wow. Yeah, see?
a rapper.
I'm there.
Love
I'm
him.
there. It'd be like a plain white tee? No. NF tee. Wow. That would be an NF doom. All right. We'll save that one for another episode. But man, this has been amazing. We're definitely going to have a part 2 and part 3 with y'all here. So enjoyable. And there's so much more to talk about. But we're going to wrap up today. So can't thank y'all enough for joining us. This has been so much fun. Appreciate y'all so much. What do
I
you got to
know.
say?
I think we definitely didn't touch on hardly enough. There was just too many good stories and details. As has been happening, was not prepared for
Yeah.
almost all of it.
We didn't know how much treasure there would be.
Yeah.
It's a nice island.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely gonna have you guys back.
Hell yeah. Can't
By that
wait.
they mean, Paul, you're not coming back. Zuzu, come on back whenever you like.
We didn't
Denise,
say
you're
that.
up next.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, get him. Bring him back. All right, y'all. Well, this will wrap us up for this time at These Walls Can Talk. Thank you so much. Y'all be safe out there. We're going to see y'all on the next one. Peace out.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Much
you guys,
love.
Love you.
Love you guys.
You have been listening to These Walls Can Talk, a Hope Outdoor Gallery podcast, powered by Dropbox, DocSend, and Ibble.